guys, Cedar Essentials here. For today's video, I'm going to be using Dollar Tree mats to recreate a beautiful chandelier. This is a requested video, and this was a picture that was sent to me, and I absolutely love the way it looks. Now, I would have used plates, but in the request, the person said she didn't want to use plates, but she would like to use something else. So I thought about the Dollar Tree mats. This is a lid that I got from an empty can that I'm going to be using to make the shapes that I want for the chandelier. I was testing a certain spray paint at the top to see what it was going to look like before I continued with the project. That's why you see gold paint on top. After I'm done drawing all the shapes, I'm going to be cutting them out with a pair of scissors.
If you're new to my channel, it's so great to have you here. Now don't forget to click on the subscribe button and that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of my latest videos.
One pack of chopping mat that is sold at the Dollar Tree comes with 2 mats. So I ended up using 5 chopping mats, meaning 3 packs were used, but I used just 5 chopping mats. One side of the chopping mat is smoother than the other side, so I'm going to be working on the rough side of the chopping mats. This is because the design would hold better on the rougher side. Now I'm going to be covering the shapes that I have here with Mod Podge. I'm going to have glitter sprinkled all over them. They were dry after an hour, and I'm going to shake off the excess glitter. And to make it even better, you can hold 2 together and rub them like this, so that each of them are sanding each other down. So that I'm just gonna have just enough glitter that I need, but you can still see the right amount of glitter on the transparency of the mat. Now I'm gonna be making holes through the mats for hanging. You can see that on both sides that has the glitter, and the sides without the glitter still has the glitter shining through on them. I'll be using dowels and covering them with gold reflective paper. And the link for this reflective paper is going to be down in the description box below. I also covered a much thicker dowel that I got from Home Depot a while back, and this is the leftover, with gold contact paper. That's going to be for the middle. I'm going to keep this aside and then show you guys the cup hooks that I'm going to use. I got these cup hooks from Home Depot. The cup hooks is going to make it easy for me to mount the chopping mats that I just worked on. I'll be using a much thicker cup hook that's going to be on the bigger dowel, because this is going to be suspended from the ceiling, holding all the weight. I finally sprayed the lid all around with a gold spray paint. And now I'm going to be making a hole in the middle where the dowel is going to be. Before attaching the dowel in the middle, I'm going to be attaching the smaller ones. Now I'm going to be measuring where and how many I'm going to be using on this lid. I'll be attaching the dowels to the lid with a hot glue gun and zip ties. So I'm just making holes with my drill gun, and I'm making 2 holes per line. I'm going to add much shorter dowels at the other open spaces much later. The top here is going to be spray painted gold. Now I'm going to be attaching the larger dowel in the middle, and I held it down with zip ties and a hot glue gun. I covered the open part at the bottom with a poster board that has been covered with gold contact paper. I'm going to use something transparent to hold the lighting that I'll be using for this project. I made a hole in the middle of this acrylic box, and I'll be attaching it to the larger dowel that's in the middle. I'll be attaching the remote control push lights that I got from Walmart to the acrylic box. I'll be using fish lines to suspend these on what I've just made. I made 3 sets of lengths of the fishing lines for this project. I added more dowels, like I said I was going to do at the beginning of the video, to this. And I also adjusted the position of the cup hooks that was on the first set of dowels that I attached to what I made, because I noticed that they were so far apart and that wasn't making the design look good, so I had to shift the cup hooks much closer to the lighting. The shorter chopping mats were mounted on the outside, and the longer one is the one that's in the middle. I'll be using an empty masking tape roll. I'm going to cover that up and then use it for the top of the chandelier. I'll be mounting this to a cup hook that I have already mounted to the ceiling. I made the part that's at the top much longer because it was kind of short. It looks better when it's flushed to the ceiling. You can see the longer dowels where I had shifted the position of the cup hooks are still showing, so I cut off 3 inches off of that to make it much neater. Now you can leave your dowels long, but if you're going to do that, you'd have to fill it up with the chopping mats. This Hey guys, today's DIY video is on how to make a Dollar Tree chandelier. I'll be starting off with a Dollar Tree tray. I'm going to cut out what I need to attach at the back of the tray from a leftover foam board. I did not use hot glue to attach the board to the tray because it could melt it, and that will make it look a little bit wrinkly. So I'll be using a much safer but stronger adhesive.
If you're new to my channel, it's so great to have you here. Now don't forget to click on the subscribe button and that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of my latest videos.
It is going to get properly set before I finish the project. I'll be using embroidery hoops for this project as well, and I used 2 different sizes. I spray painted them silver and kept them aside. I'm also going to be using dowels for this project. I'm going to measure out the embroidery hoops on the Dollar Tree tray. Now I'm going to make 3 points on each of the circles. That's going to guide me on where I'm going to have the dowels inserted. I'm going to have a push light mounted on the ceiling. So because of that, I'm going to measure the size right here in the middle and then carve it out. I'm using a larger drill bit to make it easy for me to have the holes on the tray and through the foam board at the back. The shorter dowels are what I'm going to insert on the first circle, and then the longer one on the second circle, and the longest is going to be at the middle. Remember that the dowels are going through the foam board, as you can see here at the back. When I'm done inserting all of the dowels, I'm going to add glue there to make them stay in place. Now I'm going to go ahead and attach the embroidery hoops to the dowels. The 10 inches hoop is going to be to the dowels that are on the outside. And then the 6 inches hoop is going to be to the dowels that are in the middle. I just used hot glue to keep them in place. Now I'm going to go around with a stronger adhesive to make sure that it don't go off. I'll be using Dollar Tree cups for this project. And these are water glasses. Well, that's what they call them. Now, I picked these from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to be using 7 packs for this project. The first set is going to be glued around the lip of the tray. And throughout this project, I'm going to be using a hot glue gun and a strong adhesive that I also got from the Dollar Tree to attach the cups. The next set is going to be on top. Before attaching the next set of cups, I'm going to have 3 cups attached together to attach them at the very top before I continue. I would like to cover the bottom part of the cups, so I'm going to be covering a poster board with mirror reflective paper. The list for all the items used in this project are going to be down in the description box below. If you don't want to use poster boards, you can also use plastic. I'm going to have this mounted to the ceiling with command strips. The dowels that are poking out at the back made it a little bit irregular, so I'm going to be gluing on foam boards to some open parts to level it up. And here's what it looks like when it's mounted on the ceiling. Remember, the push light was already there, so all I did was just to mount it and making sure that the push light is going to be in the middle. I later brought this down to see what it was going to look like when it's suspended from the ceiling. That way, it would look more like a chandelier. I made holes where I'm going to pass the zip ties through to hold the dowel to make it easy for me to have this suspended. I'll be passing this chain through a book ring. What I've just made is not heavy at all, so it's going to be mounted on a cup hook. And the lights that I used for this particular style were attached at the top after making holes, just the way I made the hole for the other one in the middle. This looks so cute, either suspended or flush to the ceiling. I do hope you all enjoyed this video. Now don't forget to like it and share with your friends. A lot of ordinary pens into an extraordinary DIY lighting. Hey guys, Beautiful Essentials here. This crystal leftover from the chandelier that's in my home was what made me think about what I can use for lighting. I also saw this Dollar Tree pen and I like the diamond ball that's on it. And I figured out that I could actually do the same thing using ordinary pens. I'll be starting off by removing the parts that I don't need. I used 80 for this project. To make a pen look like the Dollar Tree pen, I'm just going to take a gem and attach it like this. But I'll need a string, so I'll be using a dowel as my guide to give it the length that I'll be using for each and every one of the strings that I'll be cutting for the gems. This is like fishing lines used for fishing, and it's transparent and strong. So I'm going to be cutting this to length and attaching the strings to the gems. Because the pen is not heavy, I'm just going to be attaching the strings to the gems with a hot glue gun.
If you're new to my channel, it's so great to have you here. Now don't forget to click on the subscribe button and that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of my latest videos.
I did 80 pieces of this, and I have to admit that this is quite time consuming, so you don't necessarily have to do them all at the same time. You can just do maybe 30 and then 20 and then another 30. That way you don't get too tired. I'm doing my best here to make sure that the strings are attached to the gems in an upright manner. That way when I put them inside the pen, it will be straight and not tilting sideways. As you can see here, I did my best to make sure that it does not tilt sideways, but because the glue sometimes will make the string turn to the left or to the right, it's not too straight. But you know what? In the end, it won't be too noticeable. To avoid the strings from tangling, it'll be better to have them put in a container so that when you are having them installed, you just pick them one after the other. I got a hard foam board from Hobby Lobby, And I'll be cutting 2 circles out of it for the top. I'll be using remote control push lights for this project, so I'm just using it to gauge how far apart the strings will be. I want the points to be about an inch away from one another, and I'm just eyeballing this, I'm not really measuring it. But then when I was done with this, I ended up having points again in between the points that I already made. I'll add more strings in the middle. I'm going to make holes on these points with a small tiny screwdriver. I'll be covering the face of the board with a gold contact paper. This is the bottom part where the strings are going to be inserted, and the top is where the strings are going to be held down with tape and a hot glue gun. And I took the work to the living room because I had to watch TV and do this, or else I'm going to get really bored. So the space that's open here, I went ahead to add the push lights before I continued with the other strings on the outer ring. I'll be covering the sides of what I just made with the poster board covered in gold contact paper. I used a strong adhesive and a hot glue gun in the middle here because that's the part that's going to come in contact with the board that I'll be adding at the top. I attached the poster board that has been covered with gold contact paper around it to hold it down. This can be mounted to a ceiling with command strips, cup hooks, or even screws. I'm going to use screws with a wide flat head that will be able to hold the foam boards from the bottom. I displayed this here for illustration purposes only. I mounted what I made to wood to hang on candelabras. I used remote control push lights to make it easy for me to turn the lights on and off and also change the colors. Like I said earlier, I suspended this on wood, but then when I'm done with my craft room, I'm going to have it there. be starting off with this decor item that I got from the Dollar Tree, and all I'm going to be doing is making a hole in the middle. This is thick enough for what I want to use it for, and the hole that I'm making in the middle is so that I can have a pipe pass through it. If you're new to my channel, it's so great to have you here. Now don't forget to click on the subscribe button and that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of my latest videos. I'll be using a strong adhesive and a hot glue gun to hold them together. After a while, I took it out and I spray painted it silver. I kept it aside, and then I got lighting that I'll be attaching around the pipe. Now for the first shade option, I'll be using chopping mats that I got from the Dollar Tree. And I'll be using this to make a long square shade that would fit the lighting that I just made. You will notice that after I measured and folded the chopping mats, one side is longer than the other because I was using the measurements of the square base that I have for the lighting. Now I'm not going to cut off the shorter side. Instead, I'm going to leave it the way it is and double the remaining sides to make the shade stronger. The shade is going to be about 2 inches higher than the actual lamp that I just made. I'll make 4 of these and glue them together in such a way that I'll have a square shade. And for this particular shade, I used 5 packs of chopping mats from the Dollar Tree. I'll make a slight opening by the side for the cord. Now I'm going to be covering the entire thing with bling wrap. I got this from Walmart and I'll be using 2 packs of this to cover the entire thing. This lampshade was quite easy to make. Now moving on to the second design. I'll be using a light panel that I got from Home Depot. And this is the picture of other light panels that they have, but this particular one caught my eye. And guess what? I got it at a discounted price because it had some cracks. I was really happy about that because for my project, I'm going to make it in such a way that you won't even see the cracks. So what I'm going to do now is cut out just what I need to make the perfect square shade for my lamp. I want to let you guys know that this particular panel is kind of fragile. It can easily break, so you have to be careful when cutting. I'll be holding them together with zip ties. I did not have a full length piece for the fourth side, so I just kept adding pieces and then left this part here at the bottom for the cord. It's beautiful and shiny already and I love it. But we can do something else to it, like gluing on gems inside the holes. This is going to take a while to finish, but I did not mind because as I was doing this, it was coming out so pretty. But unfortunately, what I had was able to complete just one side of my shade. I was so upset because Party City was closed. And that's where I get my gems. I get them from Party City. So I was able to just cover one side alone using what I had. But I'm definitely going to finish the other sides once this whole COVID-19 situation dies down. For the third lighting idea, I'm going to be using two plaques that I got from the Dollar Tree and making holes in the middle and gluing them together. And the hole is going to be for a pipe that's going to pass through them. When I was done, I took it out and I spray painted it silver. I also spray painted the pipe silver. I'll insert this inside the hole, glue it, and then keep it aside. Now I'm going to be using terrarium planters for this next design because someone requested for me to make a floor lamp using them. A full detailed video on how I worked on these to give me a nice mirrored look is going to be at the top right and in the description box below. I'll be using this shade for my lamp, and because what I have here is flat, I'll be using a round board and gluing 3 lights for these 3 open spaces. I'll be covering the top with bling wrap. The board with the lights is not glued to the shade, and you can easily change batteries. The shade alone is going to be glued to the stand. This also turned out so pretty. This is what all three lightings look like. These are all really pretty, and you can choose whichever one you like to work on. I know it's getting really hard being at home these days, but I would like to encourage you all to remain strong and prayerful. Remember to always sanitize your hands and wear a mask if you're going to be outside. If you all enjoyed this video, now don't forget to like it and share it with your friends and families as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hey guys, Beautiful Essentials here. For today's video, I'm going to be starting off with a poster frame. I'm actually going to be starting off with an old sheet from another poster frame that I've had at home for a while. And I'm going to be making light pendant. This is what they have on Amazon, but then someone sent this to me and it blew my mind. This was on Instagram and I had to go to the page and look for this particular lamp. And I was searching for more, but I saw just that one. And they're also selling the lamp, so if you guys want to buy it, you can check them out. I'm going to DIY this lamp because I know my friend sent that photo to me just to see if I would DIY it. And yes, I'm going to give it a try. After measuring it, I cut out the pieces with an acrylic sheet cutter. The cutting tool made this part of the DIY so easy. Now each piece is going to be 4 inches by 24 inches. All I'm going to do now is join these pieces together with tape. Just so you know, I got the acrylic sheet cutter from Home Depot, but I will leave a link for something similar down in the description box below.
If you're new to my channel, it's so great to have you here. Now don't forget to click on the subscribe button and that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of my latest videos.
The tape will hold the pieces together while I make the shape. The next thing I'm going to do is cut out pieces from a foam board and glue it on to the acrylic sheets. The measurements that I'm going to be cutting out is going to be 6 inches by 4 inches. Now I'm going to have some of the squares that are for the 4 inches, a 1/4 inch more. I'll have 6 inches by 4 inches at the top and at the bottom. And then I'll have 6 inches with 4¼ inches by the sides. I'm going to seal off the edges with hot glue. Now, if you don't want your corners to be like this, instead of having the 2 inches that I added a 1/4 inch to each and every one of them, you can make it 1/2 inch instead of a 1/4 inch. So that way it covers up the edges. I'll be making 5 pendant lightings. So I'm gonna need more poster frames. So I got them from Michael's craft store. I used 3 large poster frames for this project. And like I said, cutting it was so much easier with a cutting tool. This is a project that's quite easy to make. I'm making 5, but you can make yours 3 if you like. Now I have 4 more that I've just made. That's going to add to the other one, making it 5. Now I'm going to be covering the acrylic sheets with Mod Podge, and I'm using a gloss Mod Podge so that when it dries, it will leave a nice glossy shiny effect. Now I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle crushed mirror glass over them. I got this particular type from Michael's craft store. But then I do have one particular one that I use most of the time for my DIYs, and I will leave a link for that down in the description box below. After this was dry, I flipped it over to the second side and repeated the same thing. I let this stay for about 30 minutes and flipped it over to the third side. Now, you don't have to wait for it to get completely dry. You just have to make sure that the crushed glass is glued on firmly enough that when you turn it over, it won't fall. And then when you're done with all the sides, then you can wait for them to be completely dry before you continue with the project. I'll be using fishing lines to suspend the lighting from the ceiling. And these are strong fishing lines. Now I'm just going to cut very long lengths and tie them around craft sticks. I had measured the top of the pendant lighting earlier, and after I got the shape that I wanted, I passed the craft sticks through them. When the crushed mirror glass was dried on the acrylic sheet, I brought it in to attach what I just made to it. But before that, I'm going to be attaching push lights that already has an adhesive tab at the back of what I just made. And I'm going to be attaching it to the main structure with a hot glue gun. I'm going to be covering the top with gold contact paper, and the link for this is going to be down in the description box below. To make the strings stay upright and to also make them look better when they're mounted, I'm going to be using this set of pens that I got from Michael's, and I'll be using just the golden covers. I'm going to use this piece of wood that I've had at home for a while and cover it with gold contact paper, and this is going to serve as the mounting plate. I cleaned the wooden parts properly before then attaching this adhesive tape. The link for this is going to be down in the description box below. Now, you don't need this much because this holds a lot of weight, but it's always good to be safe than sorry. The side here is going to be removed when I'm mounting it up on the ceiling. I'll be using cup hooks to hold the pendant lightings. I got this from the Dollar Tree, and I'll be tying the strings onto the book rings before mounting them. I'm going to be hanging all 5 pendant lightings that I just made. But like I said earlier, if you don't want 5 because it's going to be a little bit too much for you, you can make just 3 and it would still look pretty. I'm just going based off on what I saw in the photo, and the pendant lightings were 5. I'm using a remote control lighting for this to make it easy for me to turn the lights on and off. You can get remote control lightings from Walmart, and if you don't have Walmart where you are, I'm going to leave a link for something similar to it down in the description box below. I really do appreciate you all for taking the time to watch my video. Now don't forget to like it and share it with your friends and families as well.